What's up, heroes, and welcome to episode 101 of the Producer Life podcast. After my incredible interview with Alex Holmes in episode 100, I took a short breather because I have got a lot going on here. First, I gave a talk on electronic music production at Momocon, which is this awesome, geeky sci-fi fantasy convention with like 40,000 people here in Atlanta. And that talk went really well, had a lot of people interested, and it just went really smoothly. Unfortunately, I was also supposed to be DJing their Flow Jam, but so many people were interested that the room couldn't handle it, so they wound up canceling last minute. On the bright side, I got booked at Stillfire Brewery for every Friday in June. So if you happen to be around Swanee, Georgia, come check me out every Friday at 9:30 p.m. in June. Now, if you're a mobile DJ, that booking came out of a free posting on gigsalad.com. So I've been on there for about 2 years, haven't had a whole lot come up, but this was really a slam dunk, and it doesn't take long to set up a profile. So I would encourage you, if you've got your own gear, spend that 5 minutes and set up a profile on gigsalad.com. I'll have a link in the show notes page to my profile if you want to see what worked for me. Again, it took a while, but my niche is pretty specialized. I'm also trying to find time to work on new music, and I've got several tracks in the works for you guys, but I just also downloaded the stems for Julian Gray's Revolver Remix competition. Julian Gray was a guest back in episode 50 of the podcast. If you want to go back and check that out, he makes so-called progresso music, sort of progressive house, with a spin. If you want to jump in on that competition, I'll have links on the show notes page at producerlifepodcast.com. Look for episode 101. I really like the Revolver track, especially the vocal. It's gorgeous. And the other thing I really like about this competition, and I always look for this in remix competitions that I enter, is that it specifically allows you to post your tracks afterwards to YouTube and SoundCloud. So regardless of how the competition turns out, whether you win or lose, doesn't matter, because you've still got something to show for the efforts that you can use and you can share with your followers. So that remix competition has to be submitted by July 2nd, but it sounds like a good one. Now, on top of all that, I'm also helping to promote the Bass Battleground, this amazing online DJ competition spanning the next 6 months and produced by Emerald Summers Presents, this Atlanta-based promoter. That brings me to today's episode, and really to the next 6 months of episode, where I'll be featuring 2 contestants before each battle, which is going to happen every other Sunday. Because of that, I'm going to shift the podcast release schedule to Saturdays instead of Mondays, so you get to hear the story behind the DJs. And today, we're going to start off with Raidenrok, who is introducing the bass battle competition and explaining how it came about, and we're also going to hear from the 2 contestants, KydKong and Skeletrek. But first, cue the intro music.
This is the Producer Life podcast with your host, the House Ninja. Bringing you actionable ideas to improve your music and get it heard.
What's up, heroes? I'm the House Ninja, superhero DJ and music producer, and also the host of the Producer Life podcast. Today, I'm going to introduce Raidenrok, an Atlanta-based DJ and bass producer who is also the originator of the Bass Battleground competition, which starts this Sunday. And he's agreed to join us and tell us a little bit about the competition. Raidenrok.
The competition is a streaming-based competition where DJs will go head-to-head for hour sets to determine who the better DJ is, whether that's showmanship, song selection, and just your overall vibe.
Okay, and so you're going to look at a lot of different factors. Are there judges, or how does this competition evaluated?
We felt it was best to have fans vote. That way we can, eliminate anyone having any bias. I mean, if you bring more fans to the stream, like, that's to your benefit. But ultimately, like, you're going head to head with someone else, so other people may be impressed by the other person. So we thought fan voting would be the easiest way to have a balance to that. And throughout each stream, we will be sharing voting links in the chat. And then at the conclusion of the stream every other Sunday, voting will be open 24 hours thereafter. And if you miss the stream, they will be recorded and posted to Twitch, so you can still go and view them if you missed it.
Okay, that's fantastic. And is there a particular type of music or DJ that the people should expect to see, or who you got on the roster?
I mean, all different kinds of genres of EDM, really. Like I do wonky dubstep. We got other people doing deep dub. We got a few D&B artists. We got a couple rhythm artists, and a couple people that do a little bit of everything. So you can expect any and every electronic genre to be shown here. Okay,
that sounds like a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the first one to kick off this Sunday at what time?
3 p.m. Eastern on Emerald Summer's Twitch channel.
Emerald Summer's Twitch channel. All right, awesome. And I guess one of the things I'm curious about, this is a pretty unique competition. How did you come up with the idea for this?
So like at the beginning of the year, I was getting booked for a lot of solo sets, and I hadn't done an official B2B with anyone. Like, sure, I had a couple people over, and, we would mess around on the decks, just, having fun, but I wanted something more for myself, and B2Bs are a way to challenge yourself to blend your style with the other person. And with Emerald Summers, they started doing versus battles between artists, like such as Knarf going up against Frisbee, or T Spackle going up against Knarf, and Alanya thrown in there. Like, the versus idea kind of stuck in my head. And I'd always been a big fan of 8 Mile. And that last battle scene between B-Rabbit and Papa Doc is probably one of the most iconic scenes for me. Just because every time I watch it, I get goosebumps and I get zoned into that. And I've seen it a million times. And I wanted to somehow replicate that, but with the electronic dance music genres. And so originally, I wanted it all to be in person and have the crowd vote, like having the crowd in 8 Mile just cheer for whoever won. And ultimately, that was going to be too tall of a task, at least right now, for this first time doing it. So Dirty Lux and other people, Emerald Summers, proposed that we put it on Twitch and stream everything leading up to the championship round, which will be held in person live, and we'll have the audience cheer for artist A or artist B. And I wanted it to be a way for people to showcase their diversity as well, because with each advancing round, you cannot play any of the same songs unless it's a different edit or remix. And being around Emerald Summers and getting booked a lot, I noticed, including myself, there were a lot of recycled songs. And yes, I'm rooting for my peers, I'm rooting for my friends, and they are ultimately entertaining the audience, which all of that's great. But me being a fellow artist, not that I got bored, but I wanted to see something different, just being around the same people all the time. And you've heard stories about Subtronics, for example, like on his tours, like there's people that go city to city following him around, and they say his sets city to city are different. And even regions of this country, like there are certain subgenres that are more popular than others, and you have to cater to that. But going around Atlanta and seeing the same people play the same vibes, it does get kind of redundant and monotonous. So that was a challenge to myself and to everyone else in this competition to keep pushing themselves to see what they can really, crank out and break through a wall. And ultimately, it's going to make you a better DJ.
Yeah, and also challenge everybody's streaming abilities, because I know not everybody that's on this. Some of the people that are in the competition have hundreds of Twitch followers and have been doing this for a long time, and others are kind of new to it. So it's going to challenge them technically too. I expect we're going to see some interesting setups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and part of the fan voting is the vibe. So whether you're in your room or your office or wherever you choose to cast from, like you have to set that up. You have to show these people who don't know who you are what you're about. And so it allows you to be more creative than just saying like, oh, I got a new song out next week. I got a new mix out. Oh, I got a show coming up at whatever venue. This is all your own curated stuff. And all of our favorite artists, the best events are the curated ones. It's not all the tour stuff. It's like, oh, this once a year annual thing. And you as an artist in this competition have the ability to just, and the creative freedom to set all that up. And I think that's ultimately where this EDM community is going, is we're tired of the same club BS. We want unique events, which is why Def is just blowing up right now with their vibes. It's going back to the underground with simplicity instead of all the big flashy screens and yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, eye candy. Like, no, we're here for the music and for the people. And that's what this is about.
Okay, that's awesome. What you tossed out a couple of terms, and I don't want to assume that everybody that's listening to this knows the difference. You talked about B2B verse and a versus battle. What's the distinction between the two of those?
So a B2B is you and another DJ just, playing a couple songs and taking turns, like passing the decks and whatever. Versus, it's more centered and focused on what songs you play to get the crowd moving. Like, it is at the same time a collaborative effort like a B2B would be. But a versus is like, all right, like, who has the better swagger? Like, who is coming out here with these tunes? Like, throttling the BPM up and down, like throwing these curveballs. Like, as a DJ, like, you have to be able to acclimate to that. You have to be able to adapt. And that's anywhere from that, or, sometimes your cue points don't load. Sometimes you get to a venue and something on those decks is messed up and you have to improvise. It's going to make you better. It's frustrating, but you need to break through those walls. Yeah.
So versus is much more confrontational and competitive, where back-to-back is more cooperative.
Right. Yeah. And the versus part of it is that 8 Mile aura. Like, you're head to head. Like, yeah, you both can rap, you both can DJ. Like, who's better? And competition breeds improvement. And we're not out here to like brag about like who's better at this or that. Like, no, we're here to improve ourselves as artists.
Okay. Talking about improving, I understand this is kind of a major challenge coordinating this, because you've got 16 different DJs, you've got support staff, you've got an event venue you need to coordinate at the end, you've got the technical pieces of the Twitch streaming, you've got to get everybody's artist profiles and all this stuff together. Talk to me a little bit about sort of some of the back end challenges and what it's been like coordinating this. What have you learned so far?
I learned that a lot of people are busy, including myself, and I'm glad I'm able to take this time between film jobs to help facilitate and coordinate a lot of this. And even getting booked at venues, like, sometimes it's a hassle for them to pump out a flyer with your name on it. And I'm finding like some of the stuff I'm doing is better than how some of these venues and promoters handle themselves and their artists. It's kind of insane that there's this lackadaisical effort on their part to book the event. And so I've been busting my ass to go through and make sure all my I's are dotted, all my T's are crossed. And there's stuff that I'm glad I can delegate to other people who have more knowledge in certain areas than I do. Like, I don't know anything about Twitch, really. Like, I know the basics. People know how to do that. People know how to do the flyers. People have time to do the flyers. Like, it definitely is a collaborative effort. And I'm glad that people are helping out with that to help this dream come to fruition.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see how this all comes together in 6 months. And so the schedule is every other Sunday, correct?
Correct. Every other Sunday, starting this Sunday, June 12th. And it's going to be a range of times. Just like, we had to have a window of 3 to 9 p.m. Eastern to help accommodate us in Atlanta, for example, or people on Pacific time. And we have a person that's participating from Canada. Like, we needed to have a window that's available for everyone. And Sunday was the easiest day where most people have it off. And that was just the easiest way to do it.
Okay,
as far as getting everyone together. Yeah.
So subscribe to the Emerald Summers Presents Twitch channel and watch for the announcements. Where can people, now obviously you are the originator and you're one of the lead coordinators of this, but you're also going to be performing performing against others in the competition. And I'm looking forward to doing sort of a separate interview with you about your music and about your Raidenrok brand. But briefly, as long as we got you on here, tell us where people can find you and quickly what Raidenrok is all about.
Well, people can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Raidenrok_music. On both of those pages, you'll find my flow page in my bio. It's like a link tree for those that don't know. All my links are there. As far as what the Raidenrok brand is about, really my whole idea and inspiration for it was just to create a space for listeners to escape, because that's the reason why I go out to shows and festivals and clubs, and it's definitely a grounding exercise and very therapeutic. And it doesn't matter the genre to me. Obviously, I favor some more than others, but it's ultimately to create a space for people to escape for a brief moment from their real lives. Like, there is a lot of other stuff going on in the world, and when I go to a show, like, I just want to forget about it all and just be in that space. So my ultimate goal is to create a space where you are encapsulated in this whatever emotion the song brings, and it's stringing together all of these songs to create a vibe. I'm not big on freestyling like booked sets. Like, I am big on planning it, and people can talk smack about that all they want. Like, I don't care. You can be the best freestyling DJ in the world, but like, great. If you know your music well enough to create a vibe doing that, awesome. But I practice end on end to make sure that I get a vibe out there, and every person in that audience could receive it differently. Like, I'm not telling you which direction to go. I'm just giving you the keys to take your mind wherever it is it needs to be. And so if I've done that and I've made you feel a certain way or realize something about yourself, like through this music, then I've succeeded.
Aside from the carefully curated set of music, what would you say is what else goes into creating that sort of experience that people are looking for?
Like, as far as what, like song selection?
Well, aside from the song selection, what else? What else do you look for as you're trying to build that experience for your fans and your listeners?
I try to build it in waves or chapters, sort of like a book or scenes in a movie, for instance. And it's different every time. Like, sometimes it's a cold opening where it's this slow build up and then it just ramps. Other times it's hot off the get, drop way down, and then sort of vibrate for a bit, then ramp back up, and sometimes level out at the end. Like, it doesn't always have to be hype. It doesn't always have to be thick, wubby, deep dub stuff. It could be anything, and it depends on the lineup. It depends on the venue. I've been to most of them around town, and I understand the vibes that each give you, and so I'm sure the audience knows that as well. Like, there's certain people that go to certain clubs that expect a certain thing, and it's not that I'm feeding into expectations, but they go there with a certain thing in mind, and you have to deliver that, but put your own sauce on it.
Yeah, absolutely. How would you say that? How is that going to translate in the base Battleground in terms of bringing an experience to the listeners over Twitch? Is it not just you, but the DJs? What do you think are the main challenges as they try to bring that vibe to a digital environment?
As far as I'm concerned, it's going to depend on who I'm going against, and I think other people should take into that. Like, if you're going up against someone that has a certain vibe, like, you have to show yours as well. And if you want to dabble into a little bit of what they're doing, just to be like, oh yeah, like, I got you on that too, like, go for it. Like, that's what makes this interesting. Like, I am not a house DJ, and you've seen a little snippet of like my house selection. So it's like, if I'm going up against you or another house DJ, like I'm going to throw some of that in there just to say like, hey, like I respect this. This is what I got in it, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be amazing and fun, and kicks off this Sunday at 3 p.m. on Emerald Summers Presents on Twitch. And Raidenrok, I really appreciate your time today and introducing everybody to the base Battleground. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show at some point before your actual set, where you can go into a little more detail about your process and your DJing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Have a great day. All right, and our first contestant is KydKong. She's a classically trained musician who became a multi-format DJ. She lives in Atlanta, and she is also the director of artist relations at Twisted Kingdom, which is an event promotions company. So, welcome, Kid, to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I'm wondering, KydKong, is there an interesting story behind that name? How'd you come up with that branding?
Well, I would say throughout my whole life, I've been really interested in monkeys. I've always really loved monkeys. Even when I was younger, I did a full study on the Mona monkeys, actually, at the Atlanta Zoo. But fully, my name is Sydney. My first name is Sydney. And a lot of people call me Sid. And of course, when it comes to Sid, a lot of people like to be like, Sid the Kid, Sid the Kid. And my senior year actually ran for senior class president, and my tagline was "Don't Kid, Vote for Sid." And of course, in each of these ways, I always kept Kid spelled with the KYD because my name is spelled SYD. And so a lot of people called me Sid the Kid for a lot of many years. And so when it came to me choosing an artist name, a moniker, I was like, I really do love monkeys. But also I like filthy, heavy bass music too. So like I needed something a little bit more than like, Sid the Kid. Like it's just a little too cute, I feel. And so I added Kong to it. In thought that some of my music is kind of nostalgic or juvenile type sounds, and then other music is much heavier, and so I felt like marrying those two things together along with the monkey theme, it just kind of worked with KydKong. So that's how it came about.
That's awesome. And I've looked at some of your social media, and you really play up to that profile with, welcome to the jungle. And yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your musical background. You list yourself as classically trained. Classically
Yes.
Trained in what?
Oh, goodness. Okay. So my primary instrument, which I started when I was about 10 or 11 years old, alto saxophone, was the first instrument that I picked up. My dad, he is an instrumentalist, or he used to be an instrumentalist. He used to play trumpet. My mom used to play piano and trombone, and my dad sings a lot. And so I was really, really interested in jazz with my upbringing, and that's how I kind of landed on alto saxophone. But as I got older, I really started learning a lot of different instruments. Some of them are hobby instruments, but some of them are, I went and took lessons and things like that. So I have different levels of proficiency for different instruments, but I'm clocking in at around 10 instruments that I do play. And I went to school for music education. I'm in school currently for music production. I was a student teacher over at Rockdale County High School for a while. I composed for them I brought a group together called Pop Band, where the kids could play like popular music rather than just symphonic music. And I definitely spent most of all of my teenage years in symphonies and orchestras. I was hired for pit orchestras around Georgia, and moving from like I said, alto saxophone to more of my hobby instruments. Like guitar was a hobby instrument. Um, Honestly, it was more of like I'm in high school and people don't gather around for pulling out a saxophone, so let me learn more of a fun instrument. And so I started learning guitar, and then I got to a point where I was playing guitar in orchestra also. So I really do enjoy just like picking up just different instruments. It's just really, really fun for me. But yeah, like that's the background that I have until I hit maybe around 20. I went to my first rave, and electronic music just took me by storm. Like, it was just unbelievable to me. It really like rocked my brain. And I mean, the from those who are extremely musical and harmonic, and like it's not just a matter of, oh, it's uppity classically trained versus like like filthy, like rave music. Like I just found so much beauty in the composition of electronic music, and I realized like this is something that I would really love to be involved in. And as I started learning more about it, I this is definitely something I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I definitely hope to bring in my instruments, my classical training into more of my electronic music world. But yeah, that's where I came from, and I'm excited to see where I go with it.
That's awesome. So it's really the classical instruments, and then you've gotten into music production, and now you're really starting off DJing. Is
Right.
that
I used to compose within Sibelius with sheet music, and then I had to, with the transition into electronic music and production, learning a lot more about the digital audio workstations and things like that. It's an interesting realm because it is. I would say, like, when you're writing for individuals, you write the notes, but you do not write the musicality. So you write the notes, you hand it off to a musician, and you speak to them, and you explain to them how you interpreted things, and it's kind of a collaboration in that effort where they're interpreting your notes. And then when it comes to production, I feel like the type A in me is satisfied because I have control over every little aspect. But I still do like to collaborate with other artists and things. But yes.
awesome?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have aspirations of I think you said you wanted to incorporate some of your instruments into your DJing one day. Have you seen like Timmy Trumpet perform?
Yes, I have. I love Timmy Trumpet, Grizz, Big Gigantic, Grammatic, all of these artists. I would say that even my first experience, like I said, my first rave was around 19, 20 years old. And one of the first acts I saw was Fire, Fyer, and that's uh, Gabriel and Bobby Duke, which is Bobby Duke is Skrillex's older brother. This was my first experience with rave music at all, and they were playing, like, Bobby Duke plays drums live, and Gabriel plays guitar and piano live, incorporating it with this electronic elements, and I was really blown away, and I was like, yeah, like, this is very, very interesting. I definitely want to go in that realm. I would say I definitely want to use my alto saxophone, but whenever I say my saxophone, people automatically assume jazzier things, like I said, like uh, Haywire or Grammatic or Grizz, things like just a bit jazzier. I think I definitely want to go in more of a distorted route, so we'll see where it lands. I do have a lot of weird background influences, so we'll just see how this cultivates.
Okay.
I hope
Well,
to actually use my sax maybe in the future of this bass Battleground. So I hope to get past the first round to show you guys some of this instrumental work.
Okay, well that's a nice segue. So what should your fans and followers expect out of your first round at Base Battleground?
The
What are you
first
thinking about playing?
yeah. Okay, so the first round, I have some interesting things. I always love to do a multi-genre set. I don't like to stick within one realm. I love for it to be a journey. Coming off of a really filthy house set, I'm gonna be closing for Abstract on Saturday. So I guess in the time of people seeing this, it will have already happened. But so coming off of a filthy house set, I surely will be doing. I mean, my base of my structures of sets are usually base house, but I do like to throw in some ass shaking music. I love to get people dancing. Some amazing edits and flips. Love to bring in some just crowd pleasing type stuff. But we're gonna see some chopping maybe from KydKong this time. I was really influenced by we had a B2B2B with T Spackle and Raidenrok and it was really fun, and those rhythm experimental bass heads got me going in this chopping realm. So I hope to show some chopping. I do like to throw in a little scratching, so look out, Skeletrek, I gotta say.
Awesome. And I think one of the things that everybody's going to have to watch out for, I think you are one of the most experienced Twitch streamers. You've got 430 some odd followers on Twitch, and that doesn't happen just out of nowhere. Talk to me about your experience and what you've done to build that Twitch audience.
Oh, thank you so much for noticing. I really appreciate it. It has been a journey. I just hit 2 years. I started right when the pandemic hit. And so I mean, obviously I just started my DJ career maybe about 3 months before the pandemic hit. And I had 2 in-person gigs under my belt. I would say I had one gig was on a farm, and then the other gig was at Crazy Atlanta. And I was so thankful for it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that this is so cool. And then the pandemic hit. And I was like, okay, so there's no live gigs. Let me see how I can still like learn, because I just started, so I needed something consistent to kind of keep working on my skills. And I started off with a segment called Wild Wednesday, wild spelled with a Y, as
Of
kid
course.
is. And it was really interesting. We started off no direct audio. It was almost like the sound was almost like a friend 10 like 100 feet away, like with their phone, and I'm yelling, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And it was so raw. And I would say with myself and my brand manager, my graphic designer, Cody Cases, they really upped my production ability for Twitch streams. They helped me with my overlays and my emotes, but the culture of Twitch was definitely something different for me. I was not already a Twitch person, a person who watched a lot of different Twitch streams. And so diving into the world of Twitch and learning the culture of just because it was also at the beginning of my DJ career. So I was learning about not only Twitch terminology, but also DJ terminology. So I remember the first time that somebody was like, big ups. And I was like, is this Twitch or is this DJing? And I mean, like, it's very interesting. The people are like, because it's from all over the world and all different times, like it doesn't really matter what time you stream, because you can get people from anywhere who are just interested in what you do. And to connect with people on that level, it almost feels like old like AOL chat room style, like melded with like YouTube. So it's like those two things put together. It feels a little bit kind of quiet and private, almost like Tumblr, but not in those strict words. And so I've met a lot of really amazing DJs across the United States, just from streaming on Twitch. I've been a part of many different raid trains, where you go from one channel to the next, and you just kind of move everybody who's in that chat room to the very next room, and they meet people, and it's just I've traded tunes across the country. Like, it's an unbelievable experience to have this music world that is rooted in the internet. And
Yeah.
it's almost like, I would say, because I'm not a gamer. I mean, like, I'm not a gamer who spends a whole bunch of time online, and people, they've depicted meeting friends online and having these friendships for years with only gaming online. And I feel that way with the people who could consistently tune into my streams. I mean, it really is a family. And I hate that though. Like, it's almost like, oh, Applebee is like, we're a family. Like, but really it feels like such a community. And I feel that love of, like, I mean, you could be doing anything, but you've chosen to spend your time with me talking about who knows what, from sound design to my favorite DJs to, I mean, I've created a lot of different segments at this point, and it all started with Wild Wednesday, and now I stream Monday through Friday, from gaming to deep dives, and it's a really amazing thing. And I it's kind of crazy for you, like, oh yeah, you're one of the most experienced Twitch streamers, and it's like it feels like it's been months, but it really, I just hit 2 years. It's so mind blowing. I hope to keep it going, and I really do love the people that I call my kindergarten. It's just they're just so supportive, and it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And I know you've got a stream coming up soon, and you've got a hard stop time, so I don't want to hold you too long, but I did want to ask you about one more thing. I know you've got your first festival booking coming up at Spaced Out Music Festival down in Florida. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very briefly, how did that come about?
Oh my goodness. I've been working hard to try to get different bookings. I've been reaching out, and I realized that I didn't want to stay so centered in Atlanta. I do love Atlanta, and I always have. Just, I mean, this is where I grew up. I mean, like, I wasn't technically born here. I'm a military brat, but I love Atlanta, but I wanted to go more regional. You're always looking for the next step. And so I talked to a couple of different people. I would say Pandemonium is a friend of mine, and who's a friend of the Strange Stars Collective, which is also like Rachnid and Alaniel and all those different artists. They're a part of that group too. And I went out of state to South Carolina to actually do a B2B with Pandemonium at the Purple Buffalo. And we had a really, really great time. And it was more out of state gigs. Like, I was just kind of wondering, like, how is it in other states and other cities? And after hitting up that area in South Carolina, I started reaching out to different states, North Carolina, Tennessee, things like that. And I guess with me talking to different people, Alex Barmore of Be More Entertainment reached out to me for Spaced Out Music Festival. And I'm really excited because it's going to be on Daytona Beach, and it's the 4th of July weekend. And so it's supposed to be a lot of different stages, because I've been to many music festivals, but not many music and art festivals with like art installations and seminars and just like different collectives and things. And so I'm really excited to see how this works. It's a very unique experience, and there should be a lot of different vendors there. I know that they're doing like a disc golf tournament on the beach, and they're doing, of course, an NFT gallery. We're in 2022. We're in the future. So yeah, like it is an interesting gig, and I'm really really excited for this. I hope to keep pushing for more festivals. But yeah, this will be one of the biggest stages that I've played on. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, congratulations again, and good luck this Sunday. I'll be watching. And where can people find you online?
Oh, you can find me on most platforms with my handle KydKong. That's KYDKONG. But you can also check out my website, which is Animal Kingdom, and you just replace the I's with Y's, animalkingdom.com. And all of my social media are on there. You can even contact me through there. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, perfect. Good luck this Sunday. And thanks again for your time, kid.
Thank you so much, House Ninja. I really appreciate it.
All right. And KydKong is going to be going up head-to-head against Skeletrek, a D&B and deep break DJ and producer, also from Atlanta, Georgia. Skeletrek, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody? That's good. Good to hear that.
Yeah, it's going awesome. We've had a good day of interviews. Let me kind of start at the beginning. So what brought you to DJing originally? I know you're from the West Coast, and what brought you here and what brought you to DJing?
What brought me from the West Coast to Georgia is safety, or at least the illusion of it. My dad was tricked into believing that it was safer here than it is in Oakland. But we moved from Oakland to Decatur, so that's neither here nor there. What brought me to DJing? I've always had like a thing for flow, like I remember watching The Matrix, and like the music went with like what was going on, and I got really heavy into AMVs throughout all of high school, and I was making my own AMVs, and I was really into like music matching physical life, and I heard, first dubstep track I heard was Relaxation Dub by Borgore, and it blew my mind because I had never heard anything like it. I grew up listening to hip hop mostly. Like on the radio and everything. And I was like, wow, this, no way this is like a whole genre. No way this is not the only song like this that exists. And then Skrillex dropped a whole bunch of music that year, and I was destroyed. And then I heard one of Flux Pavilion's mixes for his Circus Records. I forgot which one, but it started out with a Cookie Monster track, not Cookie Monster. I forgot which one, but I know there was a lot of Cookie Monster in there, a lot of really, really heavy. It was really heavy. I think it was like number 10 or something like that. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. What this person did with all these tracks, put them together. That's what I want to do.
Okay. Awesome. And so production came first, where you started making your own edits and remixes, or did you start DJing first, or how'd that kind of flow?
So it kind of happened at the same time. I got into DJing because I just wanted, I felt the DJing, but in high school, I never thought I could be a producer. I thought it was like, that's way too hard and way too complicated. It's like making a symphony, all the time, every day. And, I just fell into it around the same time because I was part of a art coalition group called Dandyworks. Defunct now. Don't look it up. You won't find what you're looking for. But a friend of mine wanted to make video games, and I was like, maybe I'll make the music for the video games. I listened to this one track called Dubstep Tutorial, and it kind of gives you the steps, kind of the way, from beginning to end. And I was like, well, if that's all it takes, I kind of do the same thing with Vegas. So, whatever. Back then, acquiring software was not easy if you weren't paying for it. They really made you work for you. At least you worked those hours in when it came to that eventually amounted to the same amount of money that you would have spent on it. But yeah, sorry, I'm looking back. My hookah's ready, so I need to.
No, it's all good. Got to get the vibe going, right?
Yeah, just we all have our vices. I chose hookah. I'm going to actually unplug my Scarlet Solo because it is not sounding right.
Oh, you sound okay on this end.
Yeah. Well, I got me the blue Snowball.
Oh, okay. Blue Yeti?
Yep.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
So when you started producing, what are you using for your DAW and how did you learn? Was it a lot of YouTube tutorials initially?
It was FL Studio. Yeah. This guy named, so when I was coming up with my DJ name, I wanted my DJ name to be Seamless because I mixed so seamlessly, right? I was doing my, due diligence and looking up Seamless, and there's already a producer named Seamless.
Who does amazing tutorials.
Amazing tutorials. It was the first ones I found, and all of those. He's still making videos too, but yeah, all very helpful because this is a guy who knows FL Studio like the back of his hand. He knows how to do everything before the developers know how to do it. So, I was very lucky to have picked FL, and, in the FL workspace I talk a lot with my hands. I need, what was I saying? The workflow in FL it works well with how I work.
Okay. All right. And then were you just learning through YouTube videos, or did you have a mentor?
Yeah, I started with YouTube videos, with Seamless, and never had a mentor, never had any type of support from the community, so to speak. I had no friends in the nightlife scene at the time, like the first 5 years of DJing. Never collab, never, I talked with people, but, this was quad days. So it was kind of ratchet. So it was and I didn't go to Iris much. It was, I really just went to quad all the time. And, I know every third person at quad was a DJ. So, but nobody knew what they were, nobody was getting the gig except for the few people that were, booked for those shows. But, yeah, I got a mentor later on around 2017-ish. This really old British dude. He still makes music, but he worked in music when he lived in New York in the 80s. He was I believe he worked in the same label that I want to say AC/DC, something classic rock like that. One of the either DC or somebody like them. And he was telling me these wild stories that he was all the labels they were run by the mafia, and they were throwing them off they were selling them off back of trucks. And I was like, so that's real? That's for real? The mafia is just running all the money in town? And that went okay for a while. There were creative differences because he wanted to release my music on his personal label. And, I did a few releases. You'll find them on Spotify, but eventually it got to the point where it's our minds are way too different to be working together. And now I'm on my own.
All right, very nice. So, and you've got a wide variety of tracks on there, and then I imagine this kind of plays into the type of set that you're going to do at Bass Battleground. But I mean, you've got everything from drum and bass to dubstep. You've got a wide repertoire of songs. Is there something you find yourself gravitating most towards? Is it D&B or?
It's drum and bass. I feel like maybe I understand productively or mechanically how drum and bass works more than the other genres that I listen to. Trap, not at all. I tried to make trap, not at all. I can make like a trap breakdown, but that's about it. But drum and bass, and then dubstep, and then house after that, and it kind of just like it kind of is. I don't choose what I make. I let what I make come to me, you know. So it just kind of just been the better I've gotten at production, just the more it's just become those three genres.
Yeah. I find myself when I'm making music that frequently happens. I'll start off a track one way and I'll be like, all right, this is what I want to happen. And then it kind of takes a left turn and winds up as something cool, but not quite what I originally intended in the first place.
Right. And you're like, well, you know, it's not sounding, maybe it sounded a little slow. Maybe if I turn up the tempo, you know, or maybe a side chain would sound good, you know, and I just let it happen, you know, just let the, you know, whatever, you know, when you get in the flow state, you know all about flow state. You get in the flow state, you just ride the wave, you just ride the current, you know. I'm a Taoist, so that's all I'm about.
Okay. Now you and I kind of talking about flow, that reminds me, you and I kind of almost crossed paths at Momocon this past year. Tell me about Momocon and how you got that gig and how the cosplay dance battle went.
So cosplay dance battle is something me and my friends did a few years ago, just to see if we could do it. And there's that video of I believe the second year is up, but it's you know just a standard tournament style battle. We have you got to be in cosplay, and you come to the con and you sign up and you just show us your best moves. And, you know, everybody there is in the same situation you are. You know, you're not going against nonstop, you know, you're going against other people who are also con goers and who are passionate about whatever. And it's just like, we're the only cosplay dance battle in the country. Like, we're the only ones doing this. This year was great. We had a great turnout. We had some hiccups. There were, you know, our third day was canceled due to the stage being broken by a previous panel. But it was a lot of fun. We're hoping to expand to AWA or even DragonCon, just so that we can find, or even CamiCon, because CamiCon, for their physical arts panels, they have an actual gym. So we're hoping to, it's a huge gym. I don't know how they fit one in there, but it's just like a basketball court in there. We did, like, one year they had dodgeball, you know, it was great. But yeah, we're hoping to get like a bigger space so that we can fit everyone in, and even maybe more time so that we can have more cipher time and maybe a little bit longer of a tournament. And yeah, maybe I'll throw in sometimes, you know.
Okay, nice. Tell me about what your plans are without letting too many secrets out of the bag. You know, tell me about your plans for the bass battle this weekend. What sorts of music are you going to play, and what have you got? What are you thinking about for KydKong?
Well, KydKong is a great DJ, and a great DJ, but I was in a DJ contest some time ago, and I wasn't at my best. I didn't play to my best. So that's always been at the back of my mind. Like, I didn't give it 100%. So this time, just to make sure, I'm going to give it 200%.
All right. So you're bringing it all and then some. Have you got your streaming setup ready? What are your plans there? like
Um,
visually and?
yeah, I wasn't too, I never got to ask what were the rules on what I can have in my background. I'm pretty sure it's nothing too crazy, but I like to, if anyone has seen my streams, I like to like put something fun up. Like one night I played, I would just, one night I just ran and was like, I'm going to play all heavy neurofunk and have How to Basic playing in the background, uh, so, definitely I'm going to have my favorite cartoon movie ever playing in the background. Um, and that should suffice. It's normally like I've done it multiple times. It's normally what matches my vibe at the time. So I'm not going to say what it is. If you don't already know what it is, you'll find it out.
Okay. How did you come up with the Skeletrek brand? You talked about wanting to originally be seamless. Where did Skeletrek come from?
So Skeletrek, the last two letters of Skeletrek is EK, which is my friend, what my friends call me. It's my first and middle initial. The skeleton part of it was I think I have a mask somewhere. I used to wear a mask. Yeah, I don't know if you know what's his name, Wesley Phaser. Phaser wears a mask. He's a tear out DJ that's here in Atlanta, but Phaser wears like a skull mask, and I used to wear a skull mask just like it. Back when I started out, when I was finding myself, but before then, I was in high school. I had a group that I called the Skull Face Bandits, where we would just wear silver masks and we would get into shenanigans. And I won't incriminate myself by going deeper into that.
Okay. So carry over from high school and your groups in high school, and also play on your first and last name. Very cool. Very cool. What are you doing to get ready for the event?
What I always do, just listen to music, put everything together, come up with my story, come up with my, the vibe I want to give. I always like to try to find as much new music as possible because, the old music kind of gets stale, but I also want to play the classics. So I'm definitely going to try to appeal to the fans of every genre that I'll be playing: house fans, dubstep fans, drum and bass fans, weird bass fans too, Probably not going to play house. I have this thing where I play as, I tend to play a lot of tracks. I can play like 90 tracks in an hour. So, and yeah, and it doesn't feel rushed either. Like it just happens that way. It ends up with, cause, there's this old school DJ saying, just only play the good part of the track, and normally the good part is just like the drop, second drop, or even like, that part after the drop where everything like chills out. Just knowing where the good part of the track is and when to play it.
Okay. How much of your own music and edits and mashups are you going to play, do you think?
Well, when we get to the drum and bass part of my mix, you'll hear, Scarecrow's remix will be in there. Maybe the new track that I just dropped, if I can find a place to put that. And I have another track that I haven't released, but I may play it if it's ready to be played. So 3 or 4 of my own tracks kind of bunched up near the end.
Okay. That sounds awesome. And have you got any messages for KydKong?
KydKong, bring it. Don't hold back on me. I want to hear, I want to get excited to play my set. I want to know that we are, where we truly are. I know, again, you're a great DJ. I've told you this in person. So I'm super excited that that you and I will be standing, opposite each other. And I know it'll be great for the listeners.
Okay, terrific. It's going to be a great matchup, and I can't wait to see it on Sunday. Where can people find you online, Skeletrek?
They just look up Skeletrek on Google. You'll find me on everywhere. I heard MySpace shut down. Is that true?
Yeah. I don't know if it shut down, but I think except for a handful of musicians, I think everybody's migrated to TikTok these days.
It's a shame because they had a nice little layout or whatever, but you can mostly find me. I'm most active on my Skeletrek the Entertainer Facebook. I have a Facebook page as well. But everything cycles through my, Skeletrek profile that I made. You'll find me, if you want to hit me up, message me, tell me good luck, tell me bad luck, whatever you need to do. You can look up Skeletrek the Entertainer.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Skeletrek the Entertainer, and can't wait to see the show this Sunday.
Yeah, can't wait for it too. Good seeing you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to tune in for Base Battleground tomorrow, June 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Emerald Summers Presents Twitch channel. I'll have a link in the show notes page. Additionally, I'll have lots of other links, including a link to the video of this interview. So if you want to see what the contestants look like, want to see me in my ninja lair, again, head over to producerlifepodcast.com, look for episode 101. Until next time, this is the House Ninja reminding you to be somebody's hero today.